opening their 21st spring training. And this afternoon, they will square off against the Minnesota Twins. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to a brand new season. Dwayne Stats with you. Great to have you aboard. I'll be joined by Michelle Margot throughout the afternoon, the newest member of our crew. Well, the big news here in spring training for the Rays has been a four-man rotation, if you will, a back-to-the-future motif with Chris Archer, who made 34 starts last year, set to be the #1 starter, followed by the lefty Blake Snell, Nathan Eovaldi, the hard-throwing right-hander, and then Jake Faria will round out that starting four. Faria came up last year out of this pitching-rich organization and made 16 major league appearances, 14 of those starts, and 9 quality starts, putting together a record of 5-4. And the Rays are counting on him to supply quality innings this year. He'll be on the mound this afternoon against the Minnesota Twins. Coming up as well, we'll be talking with the Tampa Bay Rays general manager. In the bottom of the second inning, Eric Neander will join us. Then the new pitching coach, Kyle Snyder, in the bottom of the fourth. And a chat with Kevin Cash, the Rays manager, in the 5th inning. Rays and the Minnesota Twins coming up from Charlotte. Turned out to be a lovely day. Scattered white clouds above Charlotte Sports Park as the Rays and the Twins prepare to square off. Before we get started, let's go down to Michelle Margot, our newest member.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome, Dwayne. Well, I want to give a warm welcome back to Matt Duffy. You missed 2017 with that Achilles injury, but now we get to talk to you before you take the field. How are you feeling now?
Awesome. I feel outstanding. Body feels great. Kind of taking it like a normal spring now. I feel like a normal person, and normal aches and pains of a regular spring, being on our feet all day, and that's good. The Achilles feels great, and I couldn't be happier.
Give us some context as to how challenging it can be just to come back on the mental aspect.
That's the hardest part, for sure. You know, you want to be out there, you want to be contributing and grinding with the guys, and you know, trying to win baseball games. That's what we're all here for. Yeah, it's very frustrating when you can't be out there for a game.
You've been around this team, a lot of new faces, a lot of young guys. What's the vibe like this spring?
Yeah, like you said, young, but I think with youth comes a lot of, you know, possibilities. You never know what you're going to get with youth, and you know, it can blossom quickly and quicker than a lot of people expect. So I think that's going to be up to the veterans, trying to usher along the young guys, and if we can do a good job of that, then we might find ourselves in a good spot.
Well, thank you so much. Best of luck this season.
Thank you.
Back to you, Dwayne.
All right, Michelle, thank you very much. And Matt Duffy will be in the Rays lineup hitting third today. Let's take a look at the Minnesota Twins batting order with Joe Mauer, the DH, leading off. Eric Ibar will hit second. He is the shortstop. Eduardo Escobar in the third spot at second. Miguel Sano is the cleanup hitter at third, and Kenneth Vargas switch hitting first baseman DH. He is the first baseman today, hitting in front of Chris Heisey, who will be in left. Zach Granite will hit seventh. He's in center field. Mitch Garver will do the catching, and Ryan Lamar is in right field. He will hit ninth. Today's lineup presented by Papa John's. And on the hill for the Rays, Jake Faria. Jake, last year, 16 appearances. He came up and made quite a flourish, arriving from AAA Durham. He went 4-0 in his first 6 starts, finished 5-4 with a 3.43. And officially just under 3 innings of work here this spring. He has worked on the backfields and some minor league action there. And back out on the hill here to square off against the Minnesota Twins today. Take a look at the defensive setup for the Rays. Behind the right-hander Jake Faria. The defense brought to you by Golden Diamond Source. In the outfield, Brandon Snyder in left, Micah Johnson's in center, Carlos Gomez in right field. He'll be there every day for the Rays this year. Duffy's at third base, and Andy Echeverria at short. Joey Wendell in the middle of a battle for a position on this club at second. C.J. Cron coming over from the Angels is at first base. Wilson Ramos will do the catching for the Rays right-hander Jake Faria. Well, what a year the Twins had last year, and Paul Molitor turned things around, starting his 4th season now as the Twins manager. And boy, when the Rays and the Twins got together about the middle of the year last year in Minnesota, the Rays frankly abused the Minnesota Twins, and the Twins appeared to be dead in the water. But from that point forward, they were anything but that. And this year looked to give the Cleveland Indians a big run for their money in the American League Central Division. Here's Joe Mauer, DHing today, spending most of his time at first base. First pitch of this game is a fastball up. So we are underway. 74 degrees here as we start play. And a left. That will send Snyder back toward the track as he makes the catch on that one. So Mauer takes it the other way. And that is the first out. One of the things Faria had a little issue with the first couple times out, they'd like him to get into a little better rhythm to get him to speed things up a little bit. He was a little out of sorts, and that's one of the reasons that he pitched in some minor league action down here. Eric Ibar takes the pitch upstairs, of all the no strikes. Jake still just 24 years old. He'll be 25 at the end of July. That's going to be fair. Pass first. Up the line. Ibar's on his way to second. And he's in there with a double. It's his first extra base hit of the spring. He came in 4 out of 14, has a 2-base hit, and just like that, the Twins have a first inning scoring opportunity. Ibar out and around on that pitch and pulled it over the bag at first for the extra base hit. Eduardo Escobar. Boy, Ibar before him is a switch hitter. Escobar hits from both sides of the plate. Fastball is up. Vargas also in this lineup, a switch hitter. A lot of versatility on this Minnesota ball club, and they're feeling very good about their spring and their chances this year. Escobar takes it too high. 2-0. take the count to 2-1. Twins finished with a record of 85-77 a year ago. Escobar with some pop. He had 21 home runs last year and can play all over the place. That is a foul ball just back a third and will square the count. Escobar, part of the versatility of this team. He played second, third, short, left field, all of those positions at one time or another. And Miguel Sano is on deck. Big time power right there. This one popped into short left. Pitch got in on him a bit. It's handled by Snyder. So Escobar is out number 2. And here is Sano. Sano, 28 home runs a year ago. Third base and DH. He had that lower leg injury. It was essentially a structural injury last year. No ball, no strikes. Foul backing out of play. Couple of home runs for Sano in the spring. See what he's done for the spring. 416. All of his hits have been for extra base hits. Those 2 home runs and 2 doubles. Foul right back. It's 1-2. Faria, for the most part, with that fastball, going to average close to 92. That last fastball came in at 91. And we have seen him with higher velocity readings than that, but on average, he's around that 92 mile per hour mark. Still a ball, 2 strikes the count. Mauer went out to left. Ibar doubled up the right field line. He's still at second with Escobar lifting a fly ball to short left. And Faria a pitch away from getting Sano and leaving a man in scoring position. Sano lays off as the pitch dipped down. 2-2. And now Jake, who had him down 1-2, misses wide to take the count all the way out to 3-2. And he misses inside. Ball off speed and did not bite much. So a walk, and you get the feeling here in the first inning that Jake is still trying to get that good feeling out there that we've talked about. A little better rhythm. Find himself in sync a little bit more. 2 men on, 2 men out, and here's Kenneth Vargas with big time power. You can certainly be pitched to, but if you leave a pitch in his zone, you'll pay for it. And he swings over the off-speed pitch. Good first pitch right there to this hitter. Some nice bite on that one. Inside. So 1-1. Command of his fastball has been a little bit of an issue here in the first inning. Ground ball to the right side. He's going to get out of this one. Wendell makes the play. 2 men left, and we go to the home half of the first. No score.
There's some destination.
Rays are coming in to hit in their half of the first. And we'll take a look at their starting lineup presented by Papa John's. Michael Johnson is going to lead it off, a non-roster player who's had a pretty good camp so far. Carlos Gomez will hit second and right, followed by Matt Duffy. C.J. Cron, the first baseman, is in the cleanup spot, hitting ahead of the catcher Wilson Ramos. Adeiny Echeverria hits sixth and plays shortstop. Joey Wendell battling for a spot on this club will hit seventh. Jesus Sucre will DH, and Brandon Snyder in left will hit ninth. The Rays will face the tall right-hander Aaron Slegers. He is 6'10". 0-1 a year ago in 4 appearances with this Minnesota ball club. 25 years old, out of the 2013 draft. And the pitch to Johnson is a strike call. Johnson's been an interesting addition. He's seen limited major league time with the White Sox and the Dodgers and the Braves. Fouls it back. 0-2. There's some versatility in Johnson. Plays the game aggressively. That pitch in on him in a hurry. And a little different angle from this guy if you're in the batter's box at 6'10", Slegers. Making his 4th spring appearance, his 3rd start. Back into the screen. Slager spent the better part of last year with the Red Wings in Rochester. He was 15-4. And in 148 plus innings, only walked 29 hitters. So he's a strike thrower, had 119 strikeouts. And got to the big leagues briefly in the middle of August. He was the Minnesota Twins minor league pitcher of the year last year. And now it's 2-2. Will carry out a play down beyond the berm in the left field corner. Well, what a lovely day. Temperature in the low to mid 70s. Just a light breeze in the ballpark after an overcast and slightly damp morning here. It's just gorgeous right now. That's foul right back. Rays in their 10th season in spring training here in Charlotte County. 21st spring training overall for this team. That's a base hit over the head of Ibar toward left center, where Granite makes the pickup. So Johnson continues to hit that baseball. He's aboard to lead it off. Worked a deep count. He saw 9 pitches in that at bat. So to this point, we don't know what the roster is going to look like, but the Rays do like his athleticism and his versatility, and he's done about everything he can do to impress here so far. And here's Carlos Gomez. Shot toward the gap in right center field. Lamar cuts it off. Headed to third is Johnson on a base hit into right center field. Boy, Lamar got over there to cut it off, hit the grass, and that slowed it a bit. Gomez hit the ball well, and just like that, the Rays have a scoring threat with nobody out. Gomez is an aggressive player. Lamar making a nice play to prevent Gomez from an extra base hit, and that prevented Johnson from scoring. And here's Matt Duffy. There's a strike. Duffy in the number 3 spot for the Rays. Well, what an important spring it is for him and this coming season after missing last year with the heel problem. A 2-strike count. 27 years old. The Rays got him in that deal in late 16. His rookie year with the Giants was 2015, and he was the runner-up in the National League Rookie of the Year honors. Hit .295 with 12 home runs. And now at this young age of 27, he's trying to come back from the physical issues he's had. Gomez back in at first. Gomez with some speed. He'll be aggressive on the bases. He can run. He has some pop in his bat. Duffy takes it down. A ball, 2 strikes. So a lot of different faces in camp, as it turns out. Halfway through spring training, what, 18, 19 days left until the opener. I think it's 18 days away. This one deflected by Sluggers to the second baseman. Run's going to score. So Johnson crosses the plate. Sluggers got his glove on it. Interesting, had that ball gone through, it might have been a double play with a run scoring, but Gomez moves into second when that ball was deflected. So it goes 1-4-3. So Escobar getting in line, initially moving to his right, and then had to go back to his left to get the 1 out at first, and the Rays are on the board early. So Gomez in scoring position for the Rays' first baseman. C.J. Cron now back to second base behind the bag. Escobar taking that toss from Sluggers. Cron with a home run so far this spring. He's been robbed of a couple. He's hit the ball with some great power, and there's a shot into left center field. That will 2-hop the wall. Gomez will score. Cron is on his way to second, and the Rays have a 2-0 lead. So C.J. Cron driving in a run with his 4th double of the spring. The Rays expecting a lot from Cron. I'd like to just turn him loose and see what happens up there with that bat. So 2 runs in. Cron's at second for Wilson Ramos. Ramos laying off the breaking ball. Way wide here. 2 balls, no strikes. Sluggers essentially heavy with the fastball. Fastball, slider, and change. Takes the count to 2-1. And he averages a tick over 90 with the fastball velocity. Boy, a lot to get in sync there. Slugger's 6'10", about 245. Ramos just a little bit of that one. Johnson opened with a base hit. He has scored. He scored on the ground ball. Gomez reached on a hit. He has scored on the double by C.J. Cron. Cron now at second base for Ramos with the Danny Echeverria on deck. Pop right side. Vargas chases it up the right field line. That is a foul ball caught. Now a tag. Cron's headed to third, and he gets in there. The ball popping loose. So Cron aggressively going to third base here, as Vargas had a difficult angle on that one in foul territory and managed to make the catch. Pretty nice play. And then the off-balance throw coming out of that bad angle after the catch. Still made it interesting over there, but the ball popped away, and so the Rays have that runner safely in at third with 2 gone for Adeiny Hechavarria. And there's why you go to third. Another run comes in. A wild pitch, and the Rays have their 3rd run. You know, with a popper like that, normally you might not go, but that strange angle, Vargas chasing it down that line. Cron with some heads-up base running advances to third and scores on the wild pitch. That's a base hit out of the range of Sano and into left. Hechavarria now hitting over 500 for the spring. He is 8 for 15 this spring. The Rays with a big first inning here. So Hechavarria is aboard. 4 hits through the first 6 hitters, and the Twins are going to talk it over here. Well, the mound visits will be very important this year. Pitching change, not a mound visit, but they're going to be limited to 6 teams per 9 innings, 6 per team per 9 innings, and any extra innings played, then you get another one per extra inning. So Garvin Alston already investing in a mound visit. Here's Wendell taking a strike. It'll be interesting to watch that whole mound visit situation, the way it develops. This one is a little wide. 1 ball and 1 strike. What constitutes a visit and what does not. One thing for sure, if you leave the dirt part of where you are, good chance that's going to be counted as a mound visit. Two and one. There will be situations, and this where it could get a little interesting, when they're going to leave it up to the implementation of common sense, which we don't see a lot. There's a high popper back into center field. Granted, the center fielder waiting for this one to come down, and the Rays are out in the first, but they have a 3-run inning and lead 3-0. Baseball on Fox Sports Zone is brought to you by W.B. Mason. Who but W.B. Mason, the official office supply company of the Tampa Bay Rays. And by Papa John's. Great day for that. Blanket on the berm at the ballpark. Have the family out. Great outing. And we go to the second with the Rays up 3-0. Well, the Rays with 3 runs in the first inning. And that pretty much went to the way they're going to have to score a lot of their runs this year, it would seem. Here's Chris Heisey swinging through that first pitch from Jake Faria's strike one. A year ago, the Rays looking for the long ball almost constantly. It'll be a little different. Heisey ground ball off the glove of Wendell. He was shaded up the middle, almost directly behind the bag, and by the time he got over there, he got the glove on it, but that was it, and that's going to be a hit. You see him on the shortstop side of second base, so he covered a lot of ground. And had he come up with that, it would have been a great play. Heisey is not a speedster, so he might have had a shot at him, but it goes as a base hit against the shift. Zach Granted, left-handed hitting center fielder, up. That's a strike on the corner. Tim Timmons is calling the balls and strikes. Jeff Kellogg at first, Sam Holbrook at second, and Javinto January is down at third. Granted shortens and takes the pitch for a ball. One of the things that you like about Tim Timmons behind the plate, if you can get him into his natural rhythm, he will widen the strike zone on you. And with all the talk about doing things to try to move the game along, that's a strike 1 and 2. I still think that's the biggest thing they could do. Consistently open that strike zone, and that will move things along probably more than limiting trips to the mound. Little popper back of third. Duffy and Echeverria, and that's going to drop. Down to second, Heisey. And Granted is aboard with a base hit. It appeared that Echeverria had the good angle, the better angle from shortstop, as Duffy went back from third. But Echeverria just could not corral that one, and Granted has a base hit. Here's another look at Adaney racing out and trying to almost backhand that ball under his left hip. So 2 men on for the Twins, and just like that, they have a threat. And here's the young catcher, Mitch Garver. Mitch is upstairs. Garver, 1 hit this spring. He's 1 for 13. But that hit was a home run.
Beer, water, peanuts.
Two balls, no strikes. Twins left a couple men on in the first. Immediately 2 men on base in the second inning. Now Faria behind 3-0. And Jake just has not had the command of the fastball that he would like to have so far. Picks up the zone there, and it's 3-1. Pop to the right side, and on the infield pop, that's taken by Crone on the formality. Garver's out of there. So the runners remain at first and second. Important to get that first out in that situation. And Ryan Lamar will be up. Lamar 247 last year in the minor leagues, but is 9 for 18 in camp with the Twins this spring. That's a strike. That's a base hit into right. Gomez up with it. Heisey's going to be held at third, and the bases are loaded. So 3 hits, and they are loaded with only 1 out. Gomez getting to that ball quickly. Takes a peek at the plate and then goes back to second. He realized by getting to the ball as quickly as he does, and he's a threat to throw out there. Heisey had been held at third. So Gomez went back to second with the throw. They're loaded for the top of the order. Here's Joe Mauer. Bit wide. Boy, if you're having difficulty with your command, here is a difficult guy to have at the plate. He is very patient, has been that way from the very beginning. And that's up and away. 2-0. Mauer, a .308 career hitter. 15th season. Now a strike. 2-1. Call on the fastball there. Nice stop right there by Ramos. The bases loaded, a very important stop. Short hopped him, and he managed to keep that mitt down there. But now the count is 3-1 on Mauer. And ball 4, and that will force home a run. So the Twins get their first run on a bases loaded walk. Mauer picks up his 7th run batted into the spring. Eric Deander, the Rays GM, Michelle, will be chatting with Eric when we go to the bottom of the 2nd inning. Get a perspective on what the Rays have been up to this spring, and maybe a peek into the future. Kyle Snyder out there trying to reorient Faria, who's had a difficult time with his command. Kyle Snyder, the new pitching coach for the Rays, coming up after spending time in the Rays minor league system and last year with the Durham Bulls. So a lot of these young pitchers, including Faria in his time there in the Rays minor league system, very familiar with Kyle Snyder. So here's Ibar. And a close pitch, but not a strike. 1 ball, no strikes. Ibar doubled up the right field line his first time. Tapper. It's 1-1. 19 pitches in the first, and now 20 here in the second. The pitch count running a little higher than he would like. That's wide. It's 2-1. Hot shot, that's past the diving Crone. Granite scores. Lamar heads to the plate. He will score. And the Twins have come right back to tie this game. Ibar driving in a pair of runs. Mauer stopped at second, and Ibar has his second hit of the game. The RBI single follows a first inning double. And all of this comes back to location and lack of the ability to command the strike zone. Four hits and a walk in the inning, 3 runs home, 2 men on. Here's Escobar. And he fouls it back. He took a big cut. Had a pitch up and out over the plate. He liked what he saw there, that fastball. Faria just trying to get a fastball over to get out in front. And Escobar was looking for that, but fouled it. That's going to be fair. Knocked down by Crone. Play at first. It hits Escobar, but is picked up. And the runners will remain at second and third after advancing. Some thought that Mauer might try to score, but Echeverria was there to pick up that loose ball when it hit the batter runner on the toss. So that's an infield hit. And the trouble continues. 6 hits allowed in this game. Twins have reloaded the bases, and Miguel Sano is up there. Check swing and a foul out of play for a strike. So it continues to be a difficult outing here for the Rays right-hander. And the Rays get some action in the bullpen. A miss inside by Faria. It's 1-1. Cody Hall is up in the bullpen for the Rays. It's a soft liner golfed into left for a base hit. Mauer scores. Now Ibar, after taking a look, will score. The ball comes back to the middle of the infield. 2 more runs are in. Sano just golfed that one through. Pulled his hands in and drives in a couple. And the Twins have taken a 5-3 lead. Two men on, 5 runs in, still only 1 out, and here is Kennys Vargas. And that pitch stays high. That difficulty with the breaking stuff, spinning and not biting a lot. That last pitch was upstairs. Trouble locating the fastball. And a shot lifted high, not overly deep into center. That's caught by Johnson, and the runners will hold. Vargas hit the ball almost as high as he did deep. And that's finally the second out of the inning. So 9 men have come to the plate, and now Kevin Cash will go to the mound, and that's going to be it for Jake Faria. Call's going to go to the bullpen. So Faria's gone after an inning and 2/3. Five-3 the score. We're in the top of the second inning with the Twins leading. Today only the Rays have your best deal for opening day tickets. Get your seats in the lower box, outfield, and upper level for 50% off. So don't miss out when the Rays begin the season Thursday, March 29th against the Red Sox with this limited time discount. Go to raysbaseball.com/flash. Rays up. Cody Hall will get the nod from the bullpen. And a tough outing for the Rays right-hander, who had difficulty with his command of, as it turned out, almost every pitch in his repertoire. And so he leaves with a couple of men on base, already charged with 5 runs. On that base hit by Sano, he picked up 1 RBI, and the run scored on an error charged to Snyder in left. So an E7, 1 RBI, and the run scored on the error. So here's Hall. All set, and the pitch to Heise is too low. 1 ball, no strikes. Just under 50 pitches for Faria. It's inside, 2-0. Cody Hall, 30 years old, born in Savannah, but spent a lot of time in Louisiana. As he pops it up. And it's Echeverria there to take care of that, to retire the side. 10 men come to the plate. We go to the bottom of the second. 5-3 Minnesota. Minnesota leading as the Rays come into hit in the bottom of the second inning. Right now, let's go to Michelle Margot. Michelle?
Thank you so much, Dwayne. Here with Rays General Manager Eric Neander. Busy offseason for you in the front office. How would you evaluate the way spring is going so far?
It was a busy offseason. It trickled into camp, but I think once things settled down and things were stabilized and we had a good sense for the group we have here, we're excited about it. A couple of injuries here to our pitching that has been unfortunate, but it's part of the game, and but that's how it goes. The talent we have here, the young talent and some of the veteran guys, it's a good mix, and we'll see how it goes.
Are there any players that have stood out to you so far?
I think collectively our young players that have been climbing through our system have really made a positive impression this spring, just across the board. And Matt Duffy, seeing him healthy, very happy for him as much as he's put into getting back to that point. Denard Span, CJ Crone, the guys we brought in, guys we're excited to see, and certainly over the next couple weeks here, as the games become more competitive and they get a few more at bats, we're excited to see how those guys gel.
The Rays are planning to implement a 4-man rotation. What went into that decision?
A lot of conversations with Kevin, with Kyle Snyder, Stan Borowski, our office. A lot of it was a combination of our personnel, and the pitching we have. We have a lot of starting depth. We have a lot of talented pitchers, and felt like where we were with the young talent we have, that this was the best way to give them opportunity and to make the most of our staff to keep runs off the board. So it's something that just really, given our personnel and the way our staff looked at it, felt this is the best way to compete and win games.
Well, we obviously know what the long-term goal is here, but as for the short term, what, in your opinion, makes a successful spring training?
Good health. Certainly to this point, health and throughout. Health is really important. And then I think from a physical standpoint, making sure guys physically are where they need to be. From a performance standpoint, spring training numbers, that can be really difficult to evaluate, but physically seeing velocities where they need to be, making sure guys are running the way they're supposed to be running, and just that their body's in a good place. You want to get into this season with players properly conditioned, healthy, and like I said, the velo is probably a big thing on the pitching side as well.
Thank you so much for your time. We certainly appreciate it.
Great. Thank you very much.
Back to you, Dwayne.
All right, Michelle, thanks a lot. The Rays and the Minnesota Twins in the bottom of the second inning. Yeah, coming out of spring training, keeping everybody healthy, and the Rays have suffered a couple of significant losses already to their pitching staff, as Granite takes care of Snyder's fly ball to center. So a ground ball and a fly ball, 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the second. And back around to Micah Johnson. Johnson opened the first inning with a very good at bat. A 9-pitch at bat, and then lined a single into left center, and eventually scored the first run of this game on a ground ball out. Down to first, grabbed by Vargas, and he steps on the bag. And it's a quick 1-2-3 for the tall right-hander Aaron Sluggers. On to the third. It's 5-3 Minnesota. Colomé, the Rays closer. He had been a little under the weather, and there was some talk of him maybe pitching yesterday against the Phillies. Did not, and so he was on the list again today. And with this game moving into the third inning, he will get some early work just to get that work in, and then call it an early day, one would think. He'll face the bottom part of this Minnesota lineup with Granite, Garver, and Lamar due up. Twins coming off a 5-run second inning after the Rays had put 3 up in the first, and so it's a 2-run ball game as we go to the third. And Alex Colomé, well, he's the guy the Rays went to last year to close out wins, and boy was he outstanding. 29-year-old right-hander, finishing last year with 47 saves, topping the year before when he had 37. First pitch is a strike to Zach Granite. Granite singled and scored in the second inning. One ball, one strike. Two and one. Colomé making his second official spring appearance. He worked 9 days ago. Ground ball over the mound, and right there it's short. Echeverria makes a nice play to get Granite. Echeverria is something to watch at second base. Around second there, moving over from shortstop to his left. And you can see him right here from behind second base. Quick first step, all of his actions quick, and then they toss to first. Here's Mitch Garver. To chop third, going to be foul. Glove by Duffy down there. One strike. Well, the Rays come into this game 7-8-1 on the spring. The Twins come in 7-6-2. And the Twins, looking at what Cleveland had done this spring, the Indians 9-6, and the Twins certainly have their sights set on the Cleveland ball club. Oh, 2. Well, as you know, for Colomé, he is heavy on the cutter and fastball, and that's pretty much what you get from him. A ball, 2-strike count. He topped the list in saves with 47. Next up, Roberto Osuna, 39 with the Blue Jays. And there's the cutter, and Garver is out number 2. First strikeout posted by Rays pitching. And here's Ryan Lamar. Lamar with a base hit and a run scored in the 5-run second. That's a strike. Rays and the Twins meeting for the 4th time this spring. And the Rays 1-2 against Minnesota. Strike 2, 0-2. This is the 2nd time they played here. Last time was last Friday, and the Twins won that game 4-3. Rays beat the Twins in their spring park prior to that 3-1. After dropping the first time they met this spring there 5-4. Lamar, the number 9 hitter, and up for the 2nd time in this game here in the 3rd after the Twins sent 10 men to the plate in the 2nd inning. A little bit wide there, 1-2. Well, the Rays started Jake Faria, then Cody Hall got the final out in the 2nd inning. Now it's Colomé. Two and 2. Ryan Yarbrough scheduled to pitch today. And Anthony Banda also on the chart. So a couple of lefties do. Outside of first. So it'll be interesting to see them. Yarbrough out of the Rays system last year at Durham. He was a 13-game winner in the minor leagues last year, and Banda came over from Arizona as part of that Souza Jr. deal, and he has high velocity. So those two on the card to pitch. That's a cut and a miss. Lamar down on strikes. A 1-2-3 inning for Colomé. Bottom of the 3rd coming. Rays down 5-3. For Alex Colomé here as we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Rays trail by a couple in a 5-3 ball game right now. Let's go downstairs, and Michelle with a special guest.
Yes, here with Chris Archer. Chris, about halfway through spring training, how's it treating you so far?
Spring training's been great. Early on there was a lot of changes, but now we've all settled in, and our team's looking pretty strong, and looking forward to getting through these last couple weeks healthy and starting the season strong.
Yeah, you mentioned all the changes. Definitely a younger team. You've kind of taken on this leadership role. How much is spring training about bonding and getting the team used to playing together rather than just being physically ready?
I think they go hand in hand. They're both equally important. We have to physically get ready, but also start building that camaraderie and that teamwork element that's going to help us be successful.
Speaking of being physically ready, the last 3 seasons you've thrown over 200 innings. Not an easy feat. What's the secret?
Being on the field, number one, making 33, 34 starts, and then being highly competitive when you're out there, always wanting the ball, demanding greatness out of yourself, and it takes care of itself if you're out there. That's the most important thing.
Rumor has it you've taken up a new hobby this offseason. What is it, and why'd you do it?
I started mixing in a little martial arts training, mainly just for fun, body awareness, and I'm prepared if anybody wants to try me.
How much does it help with baseball?
You know, there's a mental component to it. There's a discipline element to it, just like with baseball. So I think it was done mostly for fun, but there is a mental element that can be applied to baseball.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks for having me.
Back to you, Dwayne.
All right, Michelle, thank you. Bottom of the third with Carlos Gomez leading off for the Rays. Down on the count, facing the tall right-hander here in Sluggers. There's a liner into left off a 1-2 pitch and a base hit. So Gomez is 2 for 2. And I think that's one thing you'll notice about Gomez. He does hit the ball hard and is pretty much full bore. He's an excitable talent out there. And so he's aboard to lead off the bottom of the third. Here's Matt Duffy. Pitch is upstairs. 1 ball, no strikes. Take a look at some of the career numbers. 12th season already. Gomez, 32 years old. 133 career home run. There's a tap to short. Ibar. Escobar 1. Vargas 2. 6-4-3 on the double play. So suddenly the bases are empty. Back to Gomez. He hit 17 home runs last year with Texas in 105 games, had 13 steals. He's been with the Mets and the Twins, Houston, and with the Texas Rangers, Milwaukee in that mix in the middle of those clubs, and now the Rays. Brown takes this one low, and it's 1-1. So the Rays offense will need production from Cron and Gomez. Cron skies it foul. Vargas is there and makes the catch, and the Rays are out in the third. We're headed on to the 4th inning with the Rays trailing by 2. Game. Alex Colomé getting some work today, and it was a quick third at that. Colomé getting a ground ball from Zach Granite and then picking up a couple of outs here from Garver and Lamar. So that pretty much vintage Colomé. And so he gets his inning in, his work in early. That'd be a nice combination to get a lot of innings from your starting pitcher and then call on Colomé for the 9th and call it a day. And the Rays are going to take a look now at Anthony Banda, the lefty. Banda spent a short amount of time with Arizona last year. 8 appearances, 4 starts, 2 and 3 with a .596 earned run mark. And Banda was a big part of that deal when Souza wound up in Arizona. Banda, some of the talent the Rays got back. He'd originally been in the Brewers organization, and he faces the top of the lineup here. Joe Mauer takes a strike. And Banda is consistently in the mid-90s. That first pitch to Mauer in at 94. This one's skied to center field. Micah Johnson still going back, and that ball carried on him as he found himself drifting, and it falls over his head. That had some hang time out there. And Mauer winds up at second base. You can see Johnson get a beat on it and try to get back there, but it drifted over his head, and Mauer is aboard for the second time in this game. There's Eric Ibar. Ibar 2 for 2 with a couple of runs batted in. And that's out of the reach of Ramos or Banda. Strike one. Take a look at the deal. You know, these days there aren't any just straight up deals. They're all somehow convoluted to involve at least 3 teams. That seems to be the favorite. The Rays getting Banda from Arizona and Nick Solak from the Yankees, and a player to be named later as part of that Steven Souza Jr. deal. But it involved all 3 of those teams, the Yankees, the Diamondbacks, and the Rays, and the bunt back Banda off the mound to make the play. Ibar is out of there, and Mauer goes to third. So Crone getting back to take the throw on that bunt to move the runner over. And that'll be Eduardo Escobar. Rays have the infield up and a shift on. Escobar fouls it back. You can take a look from third base right across with Duffy and Echeverria and Wendell the picket line, and close to up on the grass. C.J. Crone alone on the right side. One and one. Banda 24 years old. Foul in between Gene Glenn and the base runner Mauer down there. Banda, born in Corpus Christi, Texas, lives in Sinton, Texas, and he went to San Jacinto College, and that's where Roger Clemens and Andy Pettit spent some time. This one hit him on the foot. Escobar will go to first. Boy, ahead in the count for Banda, 1 and 2, and he hates to do that, but Escobar is hit by a pitch. So it's first and third for Sano. He's been on twice with a walk and an RBI single. It's a tapper and comes up and hits Sano apparently on the right side of the face, right down under the batting helmet. Boy, that is a little scary. You see, he was hitting with the glassware that eyewear on, and that might have given him some measure of protection. Paul Molitor out there, and Sano says he's okay. Well, he's had enough bad fortune. Look at that. And that is not pleasant at all. We discussed this earlier when Sano was up there with that lower leg injury and a rod inserted into his leg there. Escobar, who was hit by a pitch, back in at first. Another toss over there. One of the issues for Banda this spring has been something that had been an issue, I think, in other stops, and essentially his mechanics. And sometimes they get out of whack, and that leads to control problems. This time Wendell's right there behind the bag to step on second and get the double play with the throw to first. So no harm done on the double, and the hit batter. A double play takes care of that. It's 5-3 Minnesota. Fox Sports Sun is brought to you by your Southern Chevy dealers. Rays in their spring home, coming in to hit in the bottom of the fourth inning, down to the Twins by a couple. It's a 5-3 ball game. Once again, check in with Michelle.
Thanks, Dwayne. Here with brand new pitching coach Kyle Snyder. Kyle, first and foremost, welcome.
Thank you very much. Excited to be here.
All right, so brand new role. What is your approach coming into this?
Well, first and foremost, in this offseason was just to get to know some guys, and a couple of the guys that I haven't met before, build some relationships with them, and then, just coming into spring training and do what we need to do to get prepared for the year.
Well, you are familiar with some of these guys, especially coming through AAA. Give us some context as to what this Rays pitching staff has.
We got certainly a lot of power. A lot of the things that we've really focused on, and one of the main emphasis that we've had in spring training is just be able to control the count and focus more on power and a little less on art. But, there's no question about that. We got guys that pitch with the left hand and the right hand, but it's certainly more of a power approach than it is a craft approach.
Well, you guys are planning to implement that four-man rotation. What is the goal with that?
Well, the goal is to be able to utilize the guys that we have, not just on our staff to start the year, but throughout the upper levels of our minor leagues to the best of our ability and most efficiently throughout the season.
Who's impressed you the most so far this spring?
Blake Snell's definitely. He's picked up where he left off from last season, and last 13 starts of last season, and I'm excited about the start of the year for him, but certainly the rest of the guys as well.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Back to you, Dwayne.
All right, thank you, Michelle, and thanks to Kyle Snyder, the Rays' new pitching coach. Wilson Ramos facing the new pitcher. Grounds out to the shortstop. Jack Reed in here now. He follows Sluggers. Aaron Sluggers pitched 3 innings. Gave up 3 runs, 5 hits through a wild pitch, and now gives way to Reed. And here's Adeiny Echeverria. First pitch is a strike. You see right there on that delivery from Reed, he gives you a little bit of crossfire. One and one. And the fastball by Echeverria. 1 and 2. A little different release point there from Reed, trying to pick that up as quickly as you can, and that time Echeverria was a little late on a fastball that came in at about 91. And this one sent right back into center field on a 1-2 pitch. Echeverria picks up his second hit. So he's 2 for 2 and 9 for 16 on the spring. So Echeverria showing some offense last year to go with that sterling defense, and has continued that great offense this spring. Here's aboard with 1 out, and here is Joey Wendle. Wendle, after the first one, skies it foul. It's headed out of play. Back of third base, strike 1. Well, the Rays yesterday after the game reassigned a couple of infielders, Jake Cronenworth and Nick Solak, to the minor leagues. So they had 59 players left in camp starting play today, and they've made some other trims. This one down beyond Ozzie Timmons, who's the Rays' first base coach. A foul ball there. Nothing in 2. So Wendle right in the middle of that battle for a second base job. Daniel Robertson, Brad Miller, and Micah Johnson also battling for that spot. And Brad Miller trying to get healthy, had the fractured toe that he could play with, but they were a little concerned about the effects it would have on the hip. Base hit into center field, and Echeverria's back in after making the turn at second. And Wendle, who came into this game 8 for 20 on the spring, is 1 for 2 now in this game. So Wendle continues to be right in the middle of that battle for the second base job. And there's Brad Miller itching to get back into action. Wendle had spent some time in the major leagues the last couple years with Oakland, total of 36 games in the big leagues over the last couple years, and battling for a spot here this spring. Jesus Sucre takes strike 1. Sucre trying to hang in there against that pitch, a little below 3/4 from Reed there. 2 strikes to count. Yeah, there's the Rays skipper, manager Kevin Cash. We'll be chatting with him in the 5th inning. Sucre fouls it back. Now Sucre and then Snyder on deck as the Rays trail by 2. Rays scored 3 in the first, and the Twins scored 5 in the second. And now a 1-out threat by the Rays in the 4th. Sucre takes a good look at the pitch down. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Into right center. That's going to fall for a base hit. Echeverria is going to score. Wendell will go to third. 3 straight hits. Sucre comes up with an RBI single. And the Rays make it a 2-run ball game. Now it's a 1-run ball game. 5-4. So Sucre picks up his 2nd run batted into the spring. And the Rays have that potential tying run at third with 1 out. Nice job of hitting by Sucre, taking it toward right center. Three consecutive hits, and here's Brandon Snyder. Snyder with some pop in his bat. Fouls this one right back. So 2 men on. It's now 5-4. Snyder came into this game 6 of 18 for the spring, hitting .333. And he pops it into right center. Escobar out. Here comes Lamar in to make the catch in shallow right field. 2 gone. And we'll go back around to the top of the order. If the Rays are to do any more damage, Micah Johnson will have to keep this one going. And it has been a good spring for Johnson. That's a hot shot, but right at Vargas, who got that big first baseman's mitt up there to make the catch. Can't hit the ball much harder than that, but the Rays close the gap. They get a run, make it a 1-run game. They're down 5-4, and we'll talk with Kevin Cash when we come back. One of the bright spots in the Rays camp. The young left-hander has had a good spring as we go to the 5th inning, and it's our good fortune to have Kevin Cash join us here for part of the top of the 5th. And Kevin, great to see you. You're not quite in the home stretch of spring training, but getting close.
Yeah, no, you're right. Good to see you. Good to see you yesterday and get to talk to you today. It's been a good spring, man, and the guys' off days are coming at a good time for us. We got an off day tomorrow. The guys, I can't compliment enough how they have gone about their business, the approach to spring training. You know, we talked about that youthful, the energy, the athleticism, and that has definitely showed up for these first 3-4 weeks, whatever it's been of spring training.
Yeah, we had that shot of Blake Snell, and I guess he would be, I don't know if he's the biggest bright spot of the spring, but certainly has to be one of the top 3, I would think.
I would say he's right there. There's no doubt about it. Blake has been tremendous for us. Blake came in kind of on a mission this spring. I think last spring he learned a lot about himself where just the ball wasn't coming out the way he wanted to. And this year, this offseason, he put a lot of focus on making sure he was ready to go, and it's been really crisp every outing he's had.
Yep. On the other side of that, let's talk about Jake Faria here today. It appeared that command was an issue with him. He was so good last year, and you figure sooner or later he's going to get there again. What's your take on his progress right now?
Yeah, you know, I think Jake has struggled a little bit with his tempo, his pace. From what I've seen, and believe me, I'm not the pitching guy. Kyle Snyder and Stan Borowski will handle all that. He's probably not allowed himself to get into a good rhythm, and he'll correct that. We've got all the confidence in the world in Jake, and we saw, you know, about 8 starts of him last year where he was as good as anybody in baseball. He'll get back to that. Just sometimes it takes a little longer than what he would like or we like, but we'll be patient, and he'll get back up on the mound 5 days from now.
What about this young man out there right now, Anthony Banda? He's got a big arm, comes to this club with that reputation, only 24 years old.
Yeah.
How do you project him?
About what you just said, you know, big arm, live fastball, comparable to some other lefties that we've had here in the past, and, you know, want to get him acclimated, get him to know his teammates. I think he's done a good job, and the guys have done a good job of welcoming him in. And, you know, right now, you know, if we can get the ball over the plate with him, we know his fastball, the life on it will carry. He's got a really good changeup, and he's working on a slider throughout camp that we think will be put to good use here soon.
Yeah, a couple of quick outs here for him here in the 5th inning. He faces Zach. Granted, the 4-man rotation, it's getting a lot of discussion around baseball. There was a time when that wasn't such a novel thing, but I get the idea that this is not going to be the kind of 4-man rotation that, for example, Earl Weaver loved. You know, he said it's tough enough to get 4 pitchers who you can run out there. Why try to get a 5th guy? So give us your take on how this may shake out. Yeah,
I think we're kind of the opposite of that thought. And what we're talking about is basically we feel we've got a bunch of guys that have probably checked a lot of boxes in AAA, and we want to see them help us at the big league level. To do that, we had to create some opportunities in the bullpen. We've asked some of these pitchers to get stretched out where they can provide the 50-60 pitch mark on given nights and be able to use all these arms, because we think when we feel we're very talented. Nobody is sitting here pounding the table, this is going to work, this is going to work. We got 6 weeks to see how it plays out with all the off days, and we're optimistic it's going to work. And it'll all be, you know, judged on how they do, but you know, it's an opportunity for young pitchers to get in the big leagues, shorten them up, not have to cover 7 innings with them every single night.
Yeah, well, we're going to watch it. It'll be fun. We can't wait to get this thing started, and we certainly appreciate your time here.
Thanks for having me, man. Good talking to you.
All right, Kevin Cash with us, and we're going to go to the bottom of the 5th inning. 1-run game, 5-4 Minnesota. Leading the Rays, our game moves on to the home half of inning number 5. Starting tomorrow, Rays fans can pick up vouchers for $7.11 tickets for Friday home games from participating 7-Eleven stores. So don't miss out on your chance to cheer on the Rays every Friday home game during the regular season. Just go to RaysBaseball.com/specials for more details and Rays up. Well, the sun is out, a few clouds about, and we go to the home half of the 5th inning at the Charlotte Sports Complex here. The Rays will face the left-hander now, Zach Duke, pitcher number 3. Slegers worked 3 innings. The Rays got 3 off him, all in the first. Jack Reed worked an inning, gave up a run on 3 hits, and now the veteran left-hander Duke last year with St. Louis, 27 appearances with a .393 earned run average. Carlos Gomez to lead it off. And a liner into left. That's going to stay up long enough, and Heisey makes the grab. So Gomez, who had a couple of hits, 2 singles and a run scored, jumped on the first pitch and hit it on a line. 1 gone. Oh, Matt Duffy. Duffy, a couple of ground balls today, 0 for 2. Got a run home with one of them and grounded into a double play on the other one. And he takes the lefty's pitch in for a strike. One ball, 1 strike. Two and 1. Duffy coming off a couple of frustrating years here after that impressive rookie season with the Giants in 2015. A little back issue early in the spring, a little spasm, but nothing to be overly concerned about. Ground ball, backhanded. Escobar makes a nice play right there, and Duffy, who has hit the ball around the infield, is 0 for 3 and out number 2 here in the 5th. Another look at this nifty defensive work on the Minnesota infield. C.J. Cron with a double, run batted in, and a run scored. The pitch is wide. Pretty close right there for ball 2, 2-0. Two and 1. Duke will be 35 in April. See Yarbrough up in the bullpen now for the Rays. Ryan Yarbrough, the lefty. This one biting down and in, and Cron checked. 3 and 1. And the count is full. Ball 4, 2-out walk. It's the first walk given up by Minnesota pitching. And the first walk we've had in this game since the second. And here is Wilson Ramos looking for his first hit. Fouled out to Vargas at first in the first, grounded to short in the fourth. And the breaking ball from Duke is in there for a strike. Did he go? He did not on the appeal down to first. It's going to go through on the right side. Ramos picking up a hit. Pull the hands in and hit the ball the other way as Crone stops at second. Take a look at the veteran hitter taking care of that pitch and hitting it to the opposite side. And it gets Echeverria up here, who continues to be red hot at the plate. 2 for 2 today. 9 for 16 on the spring. Strike one. This is day 26 of spring training for the Rays. 18 days until the opener. Will be a Thursday on the 29th of March. The Rays and the Red Sox at Tropicana Field in a 4 o'clock start. Breaking ball rolled a bit, was fouled back. Distributing a souvenir or two. Reaching across the aisle there. Rays fan, Twins fan. Spreading goodwill. Echeverria lofts it towards center. Granite cutting back. That ball had some carry, but Granite calls it in, and the Rays leave 2 at the end of 5. It's 5-4 Minnesota. We welcome you back to Rays spring training. Rays and the Minnesota Twins have completed 5. Let's take a look at the regular season and how it will begin. As we mentioned, the Rays home against Boston on that 4 o'clock start Thursday, the 29th. The Red Sox are in for 4. And then the Rays hit the road, make a 3-city road trip into New York and the Bronx against the Yankees, then up to Fenway against the Red Sox in Boston, and then the Chicago White Sox. So we'll be packing the overcoat for that first road trip, no doubt. New York, Boston, and Chicago before the Rays get back home against the Phillies, the Texas Rangers, and the same Minnesota Twins ball club. And the Rays looked at that opening schedule, and they'll have 8 days off through their first 30 games. So 38 days into the season, they will have played theoretically 30 games with 8 days off. And they conceived of the 4-man rotation and have conceived of going well beyond that. And here's Ryan Yarbrough. See, last year with Durham, a 13-game winner, the lefty. And he faces the catcher, Mitch Garver. First pitch is a strike. Garver, 26 years old. Ball, 1 strike. And the Rays factor in Yarbrough as an important part of their future. Yarbrough out of Austin, Texas, lives in the Lakeland area. Originally with the Mariners, and the Rays got him in the Drew Smiley deal. And technically, you got Malik Smith in that deal as well. And Yarbrough, 26 years old, made his way through the Seattle system to AA and then AAA with the Rays last year. This one skied into center field. Johnson there to put it away. Now, one thing about Yarbrough, when you look at his numbers, last year was a good example. He is a strike thrower. Left-hander out there. He had 159 strikeouts, more than a strikeout per inning, just over that. 159 strikeouts in just over 157 innings, and he walked only 39. This is Ryan Lamar. And a first pitch strike there around the knees. That's 1-1. Twins had a 5-run second inning, tapped to third, scoop. Duffy's throw is not in time, and an infield hit for Lamar. Puts a runner aboard with 1 out, and now Bobby Wilson will pinch hit for Joe Mauer. Here's Duffy charging that one, trying to get rid of it as quickly as possible, but Lamar had beaten the play in. So Mauer had a walk and a double after a fly ball to left his first time, and Wilson hits for him. This one is fouled back. Bobby Wilson spent some time with the Rays. In camp now, doing some catching with the Twins and pinch hitting for Mauer. It's a ball and a strike. Yarbrough, the 5th Rays pitcher of this game. Jake Farias started and pitched into the 2nd inning, an inning and 2/3, 48 pitches. Cody Hall came on for a 3rd. Then Colomé pitched an inning. Banda, the young, hard-throwing left-hander, 2 scoreless innings. It's popped up, foul ball playable. Crone from first makes the grab. 2 gone. So the Rays going with back-to-back lefties here, Banda and then Yarbrough. And 2 different approaches. Banda, a harder thrower. Yarbrough, a lefty, doesn't throw as hard, and command is forte. Now Petit on to pinch hit for Ibar. And that first pitch just misses. Gregorio Petit out of Venezuela. Runner breaks, pitches high, throw down. That sails right into the runner, and Wendell puts the tag on him. Lamar caught stealing. 2-4 on the play. And that takes care of the Minnesota Twins here in the 6th inning. No runs with a hit and the man left. And there's the caught stealing. And the Rays coming to hit the bottom of the 6th, down 5-4. Rays coming in to hit in the 6th. The Rays and Don Gaskar's Charlotte County Ford teaming up to give you free tickets to a Rays spring training home game. Test drive any car or truck at Charlotte County Ford and receive a voucher for 2 tickets. Redeem your voucher online or at the Charlotte Sports Park box office. Visit Don Gaskar's Charlotte County Ford today. Rev up and raise up. Bottom of the 6th. Rays coming in to hit, and we'll go to the Rays dugout one more time. Here's Michelle.
Thanks so much, Dwayne. Here with a new face, Carlos Gomez. First and foremost, welcome to Port Charlotte.
Well, thank you. I'm excited. Just have here like 7-8 days, and just kind of feel like I'm at home.
Yeah, you signed as a free agent. Why did you choose Tampa?
I mean, it's a good team to play, good city, and another opportunity. Help the young guys. I'm the oldest guy here, and come here is a challenge for me, and give the opportunity to my family to see me the most of the time. Like from Dominica to here is like 2 hours.
What do you think you can bring to this team?
Energy. That's what I have, and come with enthusiasm every day and do how I play baseball. You know, play hard, play when energy and enthusiasm all of my teammates.
I know you had a couple injuries last year. How are you feeling now?
I feel great. I feel great. You see the game that I have today, you know, like, you know, put a good contact in the bat. And last year is the creepy year, you know. I have injury in my hammy and my back. It's nothing related with baseball, but, you know, I'm back to the field now and start spring training. It's still like 15 games to go, so finish strong and start the season.
Awesome. Well, we're rooting for you. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Back to you, Dwayne.
All right, Michelle, thank you very much. Here is Joey Wendell leading off and tapping one foul. The count is 2-2. Well, you can't beat energy, and you put that with talent, and that's what the Rays feel they're going to get from Carlos Gomez. Well, a little catch up here in this one, now down by 1 run. And Wendell is out on strikes. Fernando Romero on the hill. He is their 4th pitcher of the day. Sluggers, Reed, Duke, and now Romero. And the Rays DH, Jesus Sucre, up here right now. Pitch is down. Williams Astudillo is behind the plate, so a new battery. Astudillo catching and Romero on the hill. It's a strike into Sucre. 1-1. Gray into center field. That ball caught out there. Far out, number 2. It's Heisey out there who started the day in left field, now in center, making the catch on that one. And here is Brandon Snyder, the Rays left fielder. And he takes that first pitch, ball 1. Rays have stranded 5. The Twins have stranded 5. And then now a strike. It's been lifted back toward left center field. Heisey's there for this one, and it's a 1-2-3, 6th. We go to the 7th inning in a 1-run game, 5-4 Minnesota. It's a one-run ball game. 5-4 Minnesota. Rates baseball from spring training, always live with MLB At Bat. The app will keep you connected every day with live radio calls, video highlights, stats, breaking news, and more. Download MLB At Bat now. It's your #1 Rays app. Well, here we go into the 7th. And Petit up here to lead it off. He was at the plate when Lamar was caught stealing to end the 6th. 1 strike to count. Petit then stayed on and played third base.
Here, we got 6 outs over here.
It's lifted foul. Brock Stassi is on deck. He entered the game in the bottom of the 6th at first base. Yarbrough gave up a base hit. Faced 3 men in the 6th inning. It is 1-2 to Petit. The chop down to third and across to first in time. Petit is out of there. Duffy takes care of that. The Rays now making some other changes as well, and we'll get to those in a moment. Here's Brock Stassi, the first baseman. So Escobar started in this spot. It's 1-0 to Stassi. Nate Lowe's now at first for the Rays, replacing Crone. And that ball is fair between Duffy and the line. Stassi will turn first and stop right there with a base hit the other way. And now Taylor Featherston, who entered the game at second base, will bat for the first time. Pitch gets away from Manel. That pitch down, he could not block it. So Stassi is at second base, and Featherston immediately up in the count 1-0. That'll go as a wild pitch charged to Yarbrough. Faria, Hall, Colome, Bonda, now Yarbrough. Featherston skies it to center field. That ball is catchable. A tag at second. Stassi goes to third, and we have 2 gone here. Johnny Field back there to make the catch in center field. Taking over for Micah Johnson. Now Lamont Wade hits for the first time. He entered the game in right field. Ball, no strikes. a strike. 1-1. Stassi's at third. 2 away. Two balls and a strike. Chopper fouled. It's 2-2. Who is in the bullpen right now? Chihwei Hu for the Rays. He's not on first. He's in the bullpen. Two men away. Runner at third. Very wide right there. Ball started to take off on Monell. And the count is full. And a cut to miss on the fastball by Wade to retire the side. Man left on, bottom of the seventh coming, still 5-4 Minnesota. And singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" here as we go to the bottom of the seventh. A one-run game, Rays down by one. Let's go to the dugout one more time. Here's Michelle.
Thanks, Dwayne. Here with new face Joey Wendell. Joey, you got traded. Tell us about that process.
Yeah, well, I got designated for assignment by the A's, and they told me I was likely going to get traded. Didn't know where or when. It's about 3 days later, and I got a call from Eric, and he told me I've been traded here.
You've been trying to win a position. Obviously, that's what kind of spring is for. You've been shuffling around positions. Where are you most comfortable playing? Yeah, I mean, I've been mostly at second for the most part, and I feel the most comfortable there. However, I do have a little bit of experience over at third base. I'm at shortstop, so, you know, I feel confident wherever they put me. What are some of your personal goals this spring? You know what, I just want to come out and compete every day, play to the best of my abilities, and, you know, that's all I can do on a daily basis. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Good luck. Thank you. Back to you, Dwayne. All right. Thank you, Michelle. And it has been a good spring for Wendell so far. He has certainly, to this point, made the most of that opportunity in that competition. Johnny Field leading off the bottom of the seventh inning, his first plate appearance. And there's a strike to take the count to 1-1. Micah Johnson opened the game in center field, went 1 for 3 with a run scored, had an excellent at bat to start the bottom of the first for the Rays when they put up 3 of their 4 runs. High fly ball back into center, and Heisey is there to make the catch for the first out. So 1 away in the home half of the seventh for the Rays.
We mentioned some of the Rays player moves today as Jason Coates is set to step in here for his first at bat. He's in the outfield for the Rays. First pitch is a strike. The Rays released pitcher Dan Runzler as part of the moves they've made. And they have some reassignments and some options. Fly ball to right. And Wade is there to make the catch on that one. From the pitching staff, option to the minor leagues, Diego Castillo and Jose Mojica, Jamie Schultz, Hunter Wood. And infielders Willie Adames, Christian Arroyo, and Jake Bowers. And reassigned to the minor league camp, Ryan Weber, Brett Sullivan, and Joe McCarthy. So the Rays, who had started the day with 59 players in camp, now have 48 in camp as Duffy takes a strike. And the pitching totals goes from 32 to 26. They dropped a catcher. They have 5 catchers left, 10 infielders and 7 outfielders now. Duffy with the run batted in. He's 0 for 3, looking for his first hit. Fly ball center field. Heise is there for this one. 3 fly ball outs. 1, 2, 3 go the Rays. We go to the 8th. 5-4 Minnesota. Run. It's 5-4 in response to the recent tragedy in Parkland, Florida. The Rays and Twins wives and girlfriends played a softball game Friday to benefit the Broward Education Foundation's official Stoneman Douglas Victims Fund. And we are proud and happy to say that $19,500 was raised toward that end. And the Rays and Twins wives and girlfriends had a great time for a great cause right there, and we're happy to see that. Also happy to have Andy Freed drop in from the radio booth. And Andy, good to see you, buddy.
We are neighbors, are we not?
We are indeed. Spring training only, I guess, a little more than halfway through now. So you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, huh?
Well, we talk about on the radio side that we've kind of reached that peak, and now hopefully we're going to slide right in. You know, you see Matt Duffy got 4 at-bats today. That's usually a sign that things are starting to wrap up a little bit, and I think still many questions to come for spring training. Lots of roster moves, not just here, but all around baseball.
Yeah, you're right about that. We have Chih Hu into the game now, becoming pitcher number 6 for the Rays as he faces Astudillo. He is the Minnesota catcher, and jammed on it and pops it into short left, and that's going to be handled by the shortstop. So one away. And now it's going to be Gordon. Nick Gordon, the bat. Yeah, you're right. A lot of questions. You know, it's interesting from one year to the next. And when you look at the makeup of this club and the whole idea of four-man rotation, we had Kevin Cash on in the middle of this game. And I did invoke Earl Weaver's idea about he's tough enough to find four men who can pitch, much less a fifth starter. And Kevin said, well, he said, we're going on the opposite approach. They think they have more arms, and so they're going to try to take advantage of those guys who otherwise would be stuck at AAA.
Well, growing up in Baltimore, I remember that very well. I mean, Scott McGregor and Mike Flanagan and Dennis Martinez, and you can go back to the early 70s with guys like Doyle Alexander coming up from the system. They would work them into the rotation, but that was because there weren't any openings when you have Palmer and McNally and Cuellar and Pat Dobson and those guys.
Yeah,
but
good luck breaking that one. There's Gordon with a base hit up the middle. And so a one-out single here in the eighth. It will be interesting to see how that works. And when you look at the schedule, 30 games, 38 days, it's a cinch to do it then. Now you get beyond that, and it's going to be an interesting challenge to see how they handle that.
I think it's going to be interesting, too, and you're right on. What happens when the plan doesn't work that day? Because they're going to plan things series by series, game by game. You go into it with a plan. But what happens when that starter doesn't give you enough innings?
Here's a little bunt foul up the third base side.
Because the fatalist in me says, probably the neurotic in me says that if you use that many pitchers on, say, a given day, all it takes is one to not go right, and then your whole plan is messed up. So they're going to have to be able to adjust.
I never really thought of you as having a fatalist side, but that notwithstanding, it's a great point. I'll tell you what we should do is buy stock and plane tickets between Tampa Bay and Durham.
Honestly.
That's going to be busy, and that's where truly the shuttle is going to be. And you talk about trying to keep guys ready on the big league club, but now more than ever they're going to have to try to keep guys ready at the AAA level for the big league club if this happens. Here's Buss sending a pop fly short left for the second out. Two gone, and that's going to be the challenge and kind of the fun part of following it. I'd rather follow it than try to manage it, as the Rays are going to try to do. It'll be interesting.
Absolutely, and like you're saying, say that 15-inning game we had in Minnesota last year, and then we're playing the next day in Texas. Well, you've really got to pay attention to who is available in Durham that particular day to bring a guy up, because you know by that point the chaos is already broken loose, and Chris Westmoreland's going to be on the phone endlessly ordering guys up and down. That
traveling secretary's job is tough enough. Here's Ramsey lifting a popper foul. That's going to carry out a play. You know, the interesting part of that, I kept an eye last year on the AAA roster, how many pitchers they used. They had 42 pitchers they used, including one position player, so we throw him away.
Right.
41 pitchers at the AAA level. Wow. That's probably not going to go down this year.
I was going to say. And last year, it would have been more. We brought up Alvarado from AA. I mean, and that hardly ever happens with the Rays. It's not going to be boring. I mean, it's going to be a lot of rotation, a lot of coordination, and a lot of planning. Yeah,
it's interesting what happens one year to the next. Here we are talking about a four-man rotation and trying to keep 40 men available at AAA and all that. And then the offensive side of things, you go from let's try to loft the ball and hit as many home runs as we can, and now the emphasis is going to be on the old school, let's manufacture some runs. Maybe there's a little speed. We've got to put runners in motion probably, and all kinds of interesting things like that.
Well, with the great home run teams we've had the last 2 years, the Rays have still been towards the bottom of the league in runs scored.
Absolutely.
So obviously it really hasn't worked all that well. I think this team is going to have to, like we saw with C.J. Cron today, tag him from second, going to third. He's not a speed guy, but it took a good slide to get away from the tag. You're going to have to see a lot of first to third, and I think when a guy's at second base, the Rays have to score runs on a single. They're not going to clump together 6-7 hit innings.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you brought that up, because we mentioned the same thing. Here's Ramsey hitting this one deep to center, and that ball's going to pop loose. Gordon's going to come all the way around to score standing, and Ramsey winds up at third. That's going to be a triple. It appeared there that Field might have that ball, but it popped loose. It's a triple all the way, and now it's a 2-run ball game, 6-4.
Not a bad job. He looked like Kiermaier, too, the way he went back and ran to the spot, but ultimately it just would not stay in the mitt. But I think we've seen some pretty good outfield play, and that brings something up, too, that whenever Kiermaier isn't in there, he's going to be in there most times, but we've seen you really can't have a defensive drop-off defensively. That's why I think Gomez could be a really valuable pickup for the Rays.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Here's Bobby Wilson, who entered the game as a pinch hitter, swinging and missing, strike one. Yeah, I think you're right about that. You like his athleticism and his enthusiasm. Sometimes other opposing teams might take exception to it, but you're going to get honest effort out of him with athleticism, and so I think that's going to be fine. And when you look at the numbers in terms of OPS and all that, it's all going to kind of come out in the wash. And you've added a couple of young players to your system, and one of them we saw the arm today, and they're really high on Bonda. So you understand all that, but I just think it's going to be so interesting this year because it's going to be so different than what we've seen in past seasons. And to go back to the point you brought up about a lot of home runs but not a lot of run production, again, to invoke Earl Weaver, we like the 3-run home run. Forget the solo shots. You got to get some guys on base and then hit a home run.
How did the Rays hit so many home runs the last 2 years and only have one walk-off home run? We never hit them in the 9th.
Yeah, exactly.
Only Souza.
So, you know, and this game is just crazy enough that just as soon as you think, you know, these bright minds have all these ideas about how you're going to transform the game, and here we go. Now we're going back and going, well, you know, 3-run home runs are better than solo home runs. No kidding.
we figured that one out.
Yeah, and maybe a 4-man rotation, but we're going to do it because we have our. Well, I'll tell you. And I know part of Earl Weaver is what he's saying in jest, but, you know, there's some truth in that. And when you look at the 5th starter's production versus what you've gotten out of the bullpen, even when you take like a closer who's going to have great numbers usually, throw him away. The 5th starter's ERA is higher than the average bullpen ERA. I mean, to the point of the 5th starter, I think, somewhere over 5. And the bullpen is somewhere in the 4s. So you're picking up, even if it's 4.5, let's just round it off. So you're picking up half a run. That's significant if you can pull that off.
If you can, and the Rays have guys that are so stocked up, like Plains coming in for Lanning, that are starting pitchers. So I can certainly envision it working. Now, you can also imagine the chaos on a particular day where it might not work, but big picture, in a general sense, I can imagine how this really could work.
You know how baseball now hires these guys who've never played the game or never been around the game? The thought occurred to me, the next hire for the Rays, because of the image that you just dropped into my brain, an air traffic controller will be the next hire for the Rays here.
Maybe as traveling secretary. No offense to Westy, but you're going to have somebody that organizes that stuff. But, you know, Dwayne, like you're talking to, this is going to be a young team, probably going to get younger as the year goes on. Just the guys that they sent out today. I can't wait to see those guys start to break through, because we really haven't had a whole lot of position guys break through since Evan. I mean, Kiermaier, of course.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that. And it has to be, if you're not going to spend just tons of money that most clubs can't spend, the talent has to come from somewhere, and that's where it has to come from, and then be judicious about whether you're going to spend some money to add a piece or two. That's just reality, I think. That's just where it is right now. Petit up here with men on the corners. And, you know, the other interesting thing, I was talking with a longtime scout the other day about the structure of the game, and it really does seem as if you're in a situation where it's go for broke and tear it down. Go for broke and tear it down. That seems to be where we are now in this modern era of the game. And I guess the evolution of how it all works, it makes sense that that's where it would wind up. You know, it was different when when players were bound to clubs and you didn't have as much free agency, and now you get to a point where I don't know that most people who've been around the game for a long time can even believe some of the astronomical numbers that go on across the board. Not only player salaries, but franchise values, rights fees. The whole thing is just staggering at times.
Who could have ever predicted it? And yet part of that bubble may have burst this year when you see guys like Moustakas coming back to earth a little bit. We were talking yesterday in Clearwater, the Phillies signed Carlos Santana 3 years, whatever, 30 or 38. What's $8 million between them? But maybe if they had waited, they could have gotten him or someone else at a much lower rate, the way the market turned out.
And you know what I think they're also doing? I think they're taking a much closer look at all of the areas of some of those free agents. You had some free agents who were pretty good hitters, but on the defensive end, you had guys who didn't score impressively at all. And so are you going to give somebody a ton of money if you're going to get a minus defense and maybe some plus offense? And I think that's where they are. More with this talk show. We might even take some calls in a moment. We go to the bottom of the 8th. By Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. Turned out to be a gorgeous day after an overcast and a little cool, maybe a little dampness in the morning, but boy, a great day to be on a blanket out there. And so we move into the bottom of the 8th. The Rays find themselves down 6-4, joined by Andy Freed here in the 8th inning. And I don't know, we covered so many topics in the top of the 8th. We might just relax and take it easy here in the bottom of the 8th.
Let's just kick back a little bit and watch some spring training baseball. But you know, like we were saying, though, it's not going to be a dull year. I think this is going to be a very interesting year, and not only game to game, but over the course of the season, the roster manipulation. I think that's going to be a very interesting, almost massaging of the roster to get it just right. That's the goal. I think you're absolutely right. From one day to the next, and maybe in the middle of the game, you might not be sure who's on the roster. So that's going to be fun. And you know, last year I had a conversation with Kevin Cash about the pitching, and he said then that he thought they had half a dozen, 5, 6, 7 pitchers in the minor leagues then that could help the team this year. And I think we're seeing the results of that here with what they're trying to do. Anxious to see that. Another guy I'm really anxious to see is Nathan Eovaldi. And you know, he was easy to overlook during the offseason because we focused so much on the young pitchers coming up and who was going to stay and who would ultimately be traded. But Eovaldi has looked really good this spring, and I'm curious where he's going to slot out in that starting 4 as we see it. Because, I mean, a guy that's had 2 Tommy Johns and he's already throwing 99 again. Easy. I mean, easy looking 99.
Yep. He gets it up there in a hurry. So he's going to be impressive. There's no question about that. Well, you look at the 4 starters. You start with Archer, and they've been very happy with what's happened with Snell here this spring. And then Eovaldi and Faria. They've got to get him straightened out a little bit. And I think he will. He's a smart guy, and it'll work. And they're going to have to. They're going to have to work out. Manel up here takes that pitch, and he's up in the count. So with those 4 to lead the way, if people can stay healthy, and the Rays have already, that's the one thing that you're a little concerned, because they've already lost Honeywell, and they figured he'd be up here, middle of the year somewhere, give or take, and I think that's a significant loss. Manel chops it to the right side, and that's Featherston making the play. So 2 outs in the 8th. But as we both know, having been around this game as long as we have been, it's more of a process than it is an event. To me, it replicates life that way. It's one day built on the day before, and you're looking towards. So in a way, it's almost a drama, day-to-day drama, a baseball season, and you're never sure what's going to happen. And how many times, I don't know that we take enough time to look back and really think about this. You start a year and you expect something to happen, and something completely different happens. And you just dismiss that year after year like, oh, sure, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Well, I've always thought and said, maybe learned more like it over the years, that baseball is like a great summer-long novel. I mean, each day is a whole nother page, and sometimes it takes a twist and turn that you had no expectation for. And then, that to me is kind of the fun of it. I mean, isn't it we look back at, say, 08, and you look to think, as we're celebrating anniversaries this year, boy, everything was just so smooth and crystal clear, and we made it all the way, into the World Series. But there were so many twists and turns to that year.
Yep.
That between guys getting hurt and other people replacing them, and right when you least expected something to happen, here comes Dan Johnson to hit a big home run. And I mean, that to me is why that year was so magical.
Yep, that's exactly right. Nice pick up there on the short hop by Featherston. He retires Velasquez. 3 up, 3 down, go the Rays. And Andy, thanks for stopping in. It's kind of fun.
Thanks for the hospitality, neighbor. Man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we should do this more often.
Yep.
All right. See you soon.
Sounds good.
Okay. It's a 2-run game now. Minnesota leading the Rays 6-4. The Rays Flex Pack is the most versatile ticket package in town. Save up to 50% off the single game ticket price and get 5 lower level regular season tickets for just $98. For a limited time, get a 20th anniversary pint glass set presented by Dex Imaging with each pack purchased. Visit RaysBaseball.com/flex. Rays up. Adam Kolarek, the lefty, will become pitcher number 7 in this game for the Rays. He follows who followed Yarbrough. Stasi leads it off. That's a strike. stays inside. It's 1-1. We were talking about this year versus last year and the different approach and a lot of different personnel. 2-1. Of the 32 players on last year's opening day roster or the disabled list, which would get the number to 32, only 14 still remain in the organization. That's a pretty good turnover. It's Kyle Bird we saw in the bullpen out there. And that's strike 3 call. Strassi caught looking. Now Taylor Featherston. And of that total we mentioned, the 14 left, the pitchers right now who are in camp would be Matt Andrees, Chris Archer, Paulame, Voldy, Pruitt, and Snell. One ball, no strikes here on Featherston. Two and 0. Lamont Wade is on deck. Featherston 0 for 1. Hit a fly ball to center in his first at bat. That came in the 7th. It's 2-1. A crowd of a little over 4,400 here this afternoon on what turned out to be a gorgeous day. Shot to left, and that ball is caught out there. Nice grab in left field. Jake Fraley in from the minor league camp making that grab. Score some points on that grab. So 2 gone. And here's Wade. Fly ball right field. And that will retire the side. 3 up and 3 down. We go to the bottom of the 9th. 6-4 Minnesota. A couple here, 6-4. Great to have you with us here on our first spring training telecast. We'll originate a couple more before we get into the regular season. Braves have been out hit 12-9, trails 6-4, and they will face Alan Busnitz, a right-hander. The 5th pitcher of the day for Minnesota. Will take on the Boston Red Sox on Wednesday, the 21st. That's our next telecast. March 21st against the Red Sox. Right here, and we'll be with you at 1 o'clock. Ian Wong will lead it off. He took over for Wendell at second base, and now we'll get an at bat here in the 9th inning. Garrett Whitley has moved into the on-deck circle. So the Twins, Slagers, Reed, Duke, Romero, and Busnets. And the first one is drilled. That ball well tagged, and it's gone. Wong hit that ball a ton, and he makes it a 6-5 game. So just like that, the Rays get one of those runs back. Ian Wong put a charge into that one. And that's not new for him. When you look at what he's done, in fact, last year in the minor leagues, he hit a couple of very big home runs. Now Whitley takes a strike. In fact, Wong last year hit the go-ahead grand slam to give Durham a 5-3 win over Memphis in the AAA National Championship game, and that earned him the game MVP honors. So he's shown some pretty good pop already. Ball is going to be out of play down the right side. And Wong makes it 6-5 here. So now it's Whitley. And he is out on strikes. So one away. Jake Fraley, who made that great catch in left field up here, and swings through that first pitch. Strike one. And on the corner. Close enough right there, and it's an 0-2 count all of a sudden. Pitch wide, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Kicks foul. We'll extend the at bat for Fraley, give him another chance. Ray scored 3 runs in the first. Picked up another run in the 4th and a run here in the 9th inning. The 2nd inning was the big inning for Minnesota. They sent 10 men to the plate and scored 5. Got another run in the 8th, and right now that's the difference in this game. Ian Wong has belted a home run to open the bottom of the 9th for the Rays. And now strike 3 called on Fraley. So a couple of strikeouts for Busnets after giving up the home run. And Johnny Field will be the hitter for the Rays. pitch is in for a strike. I'd like to thank all our guests throughout the day. Great thing about spring training, getting a chance to talk with the manager and the pitching coach, players as well. There's a chop back to the mound, and that's going to do it. Minnesota has beaten the Rays 6-5. Rays got the home run in the ninth and fall a run short. 6-12-0 for the Twins, 5-10-0 for the Rays. For Michelle Margot, Dwayne Stats, great to have you with us. Hope you've enjoyed the telecast. If not the outcome, we'll see you on the 21st, Wednesday, when the Rays take on the Red Sox. From Charlotte County, so long, everybody.